Afternoon. How are we all doing? Afternoon, Ian, Amy, Julio, Fletch, Evil, Danny, Peter, JC, Crump, Gregors. It's time. Michael, how are we doing? Doing boat work and listening in. Oh. Hope you're not sucking in that fiberglass. Right. It's the only thing I remember about boats, the smell. When you're working on a boat, that is. If you've ever had a boat, I have to give you some backstory. I used to sail a lot. I'm a sailing instructor as well. And I used to do a lot of work on boats. And it's the old fiberglass glue sniffy smell. Ugh, horrible. Anyway, nothing to do with trading. Right. So this afternoon, we are going to just go through the news and trade a little bit of the open at New York and just do a little bit of a rundown on the FX pairs. Afternoon, Evans. So we'll go through basically what's coming up this week. I did do this morning in the live room. So I'm not going to go through every pair this afternoon because I did that this morning. We went through every single FX pair in the weekly overview this morning at 8 o'clock. So this afternoon is just going to be sort of a quick overview of what's going on in FX, have a quick look at the news coming up this week, where we're expecting stuff potentially to go. And then we'll obviously see what happens. This week, I'm going to do 2:45 tomorrow with the services PMIs. So we'll trade that one tomorrow afternoon, or watch that unfold tomorrow afternoon. Wednesday morning at 8 o'clock for the Australian GDP figures. We've got the CAD interest rate decision on Wednesday, 2:45, so it could be on at 2:30 for that. We've got the Euro interest rates on Thursday, so I'll be on for that. And then on Friday, it's non-farm payroll and unemployment. So that's the live room schedule this week. We'll see what happens. So just quickly go through the news. So we've had the Swiss CPI this morning, which was weird. So we had the move on the Swissy this morning, which was positive. So we had a 0.6 on a 0.5 forecast. So the Swiss franc this morning had a big drop at the news, which was 7 o'clock this morning. So we pushed down, as you would expect, because it was positive Swiss franc. So that strengthened the Swiss franc. So everything will drop against the Swissy. And then literally put an inside bar in. And since then, we haven't looked back. 6 hours straight against the Swiss franc. So all the Swiss pairs basically flown this morning. Totally the opposite direction to the news. So news obviously is positive, expecting the Swiss franc to power up on the CPI figures. But it hasn't. It's completely weakened. So this is a bit of a weird move today. I suspect because the interest rates in Switzerland are 1.75 and that inflation figure is below target, there's not really any reason to suspect that because inflation is going up, they're going to do anything but drop that rate. Yeah, because even if inflation goes up, which it has by 0.1% on the forecast, it's still below target. So there's no reason for them to increase that. There's no real reason for them to decrease it at the moment. So the Swiss is a little bit of an anomaly with CPI and interest rates in the fact that there's not really any reason for them to do anything. Unemployment is stable. GDP is stable. Everything's stable. That's why the Swiss franc is a safe haven, because it's just stable. It just ticks along doing its thing. So some really weird moves. If you look at the ADRs today, you can see very clearly what's been going on. So CAD Swiss, Swiss yen, Euro Swiss, Pound Swiss, US dollar Swiss, all beyond ADR today. The biggest movers of the day have been the pound and the euro against the Swissy. So big, strong move there. 150 ADR on the pound Swiss and the euro Swiss. There's a whacking great shooting star just gone in. So I've taken an aggressive drawdown control position on the pound Swiss and the euro Swiss on the ADR reversals account because it's massively extended, and I don't really think there's any reason for that move. There's nothing else on the fundamentals that you would be looking at going, wow, that Swissy definitely is weak. So it's a bit of an odd move this morning, but that's what we've had this morning. This evening, we have the CPI for Japan coming out, which is a forecast of 2.5. So they're looking for an increase year on year of 1% on the interest rates, on inflation, meaning that the interest rates should really start to rise. So they've been saying for ages now, the Japanese, well, not for ages, but for the last quarter or so, that they're going to potentially increase interest rates from a negative 0.1 up to 0. They have been down here for 7 years now and never moved. So this will be the first positive interest rate rise in nearly a decade for the Japanese. So it's going to be quite a big move on the yen when it happens, but they never actually confirm anything, and they are known for not doing what they say. So we've got the CPI figure coming out this evening, overnight. Whatever that figure comes out at, no one's really going to do anything until Ueda's spoken, which is 4 o'clock this morning or tomorrow morning UK time. So this has potentially got a lot of movement possibilities for Japan and for the yen. So we need to pay attention to that one. I'll be waking up tomorrow morning. First thing I'll do is look at the yen pairs. There's a good chance they might be 300-400% of ADR. We don't know. So we'll wait and see what happens with those. So that is your yen. We've got the PMIs for the US coming out tomorrow afternoon. So 3 o'clock, hence me being on at 2:45 tomorrow. So we'll be trading the US services PMIs. Then after that, it all starts to kick off. So Wednesday onwards this week is where it all starts to move. So we've got the GDP figures coming out overnight for the Australian dollar. Then we move into non-farm employment. Then we move, we've got the budget as well, which is released. It's usually somewhere in the middle of the day, sort of 12 o'clock-ish or something. We get the budget in the UK. Could do something, may not. It's very difficult to tell with budgets. They're very hit and miss. But the main news we've got on Wednesday is the Canadian rate. So that is 5% forecast. Absolutely no reason why them or anybody else would increase their interest rates. And at the moment, there's no reason why they should decrease. So nothing's really forecast to happen with any interest rate until around about June. So there's no, it's very unlikely, very, very unlikely we would get anything other than a 5% there. We've then got the PMIs for the CAD coming out 15 minutes after that, followed by Powell testifying and JOLTS. And then at 3:30, we've got the Bank of Canada press conference. So looking at Tuesday, from a planning perspective, we've got volatility coming in at 115 for the US dollar, followed by volatility for the Canadian dollar, followed by volatility for the US dollar, followed by volatility for the Canadian dollar. Yeah. So there's 5 news events there happening within 2 hours of each other that have got the potential to move US dollar and Canadian dollar massively. So it's going to be a really big day potentially on Wednesday. It might do absolutely nothing. You know, I always say there's a big day potentially coming. There is, but there's also the opportunity that it may do absolutely nothing. So that's Wednesday. And then on Thursday, we move into the euro rate. Again, absolutely no reason why that should change. Lagarde has been very clear in that there is no reason to increase interest rates further. There is no reason to decrease them further at the moment or to start to decrease them. We've got unemployment claims coming out 15 minutes after that. Then 15 minutes later, we've got the press conference for the ECB. So the press conferences are when the market moves. So when we get the rate and the statement, the market digests this information, and if there's any shocks, it immediately will put the orders into either scale in or undo the move that they've got wrong. And then about 15 to 30 minutes after the press conference, we know what the forward guidance is, and that is when the market tends to move. So somewhere between 3:45 to 4 o'clock Wednesday afternoon. And then for the euro, it's going to be somewhere around about 2 to 2:15 prior to the New York Open that will get movement on the euro. Then at half an hour after New York Open, Powell testifies again. This should be less impactful than that, because obviously anything impactful will probably be coming out in that testify. And then the second testification, or whatever, what's the plural of testification? Testify. The second time he testifies is less impactful than the first, because obviously anything impactful is probably going to come out there, and then this is just going to be a little bit more of that. So I wouldn't worry about that one quite as much as this one. And then we've got Mester speaking after that. And then on Friday, it's non-farm payroll. So we got the unemployment rate for the Canadian and the US. So again, huge moves. So Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday this week, we've got potential for 200% ADR moves across the board on pretty much anything. Because the US dollar obviously drives everything. So absolutely everything could move. So it's going to be a busy, busy, busy week this week. There was nothing over the weekend news perspective that we need to be paying any attention to. You can see the CPI there for the Swiss that came out. Just kind of undone itself, really. Nothing from Japan over the weekend either. So again, no news to speak about there. So there we go. So that's what we've got coming up this week. So it's a really, really, really busy week this week for news. Whether or not anything actually happens off the back of this news, we'll have to wait and see. But the whole market is waiting and revolving around this at the minute. This is driving everything. And obviously, as this is moving, we are not getting driven anywhere. We are sideways on the vast majority of currencies at the moment. Nobody's got advantages over anybody else. So it's a really tricky situation for FX at the moment. Somebody posted in the Discord group this morning something from someone from where was it? Pepperstone, just basically posting a chart which is the likelihood of things changing. So basically it's kind of one of those charts that you see a little bit like currency strength charts. Yeah, where's the currency strength chart? There you go. So, you know, this sort of information, it's not very useful, is it? We know what this is. So, you know, you see that big brown line flying up there on the Swiss franc, which means the Swiss franc's massively powered up. We know that. You can see it on a chart. The chart that was posted was basically the percentage chances of interest rates dropping month on month. Well, we know that because the Fed had come out and said June and everybody else has said June as well. So therefore, obviously in September, there's a high probability of it being down. But everything changes. So at the moment, we are waiting for some kind of forward guidance. And this is why I say the most important thing here is this, the press conference. Yeah, because the press conference is where the press get to ask the leaders, what are you thinking? And all the cutting questions. So in these statements that get released, the rate statements, they're the bank's way of saying, we are watching data. Any forward guidance will be based on data. But when you ask a question, the human being has to react, and you get snippets of information here that aren't clear, or anything that isn't clear in here is clarified. So this is where you tend to get the movement after this press conference. So they're just waiting to see if they get any clues or guidance as to where the way we should be going. But it's not always giving us information that we want to hear. So quite often you get big moves in the opposite direction to whatever the news release was as well. So we'll wait and see. But everything's data driven at the moment. Nothing is moving. So, you know, like a car, if you're driving a car and the engine's turned off, which it is in this case because interest rates aren't changing, it's not going anywhere. Hence, we have an awful lot of this sideways movement, which is basically all we're getting at the minute. So it's just a hell of a lot of that. Nothing. So it's all range bound. Play the ranges, play the ADR extensions, and just wait for the market to move up and down. It's really all we can do at the minute. So ADRs today, pound odd has just hit ADR as well as pound CAD. We just had some movement on the pound. So pound CAD was an ADR hit in the last hour. So just had a reversal alert on that. God, look at that spread. So you just had a reversal alert on that there. So potentially nice move to the downside on the pound. So obviously I'll run through the ADRs, but it's pretty obvious. CAD Swiss, it's all Swiss related today. So there's your ADR hit. There's your reversal alert. There's your retest just going in. So potentially forming that M pattern reversal. Looking for weakness in the CAD Swiss. So that one's extended just to ADR. So we've only just hit ADR. That's the news alert on the Swissy. And then literally after that news, nothing but opposite all day. Very, very, very odd move today on the Swiss. So I don't think this is necessarily the right move. It's more likely, I think, a little bit bullish on the Swiss. But anyway, Swiss yen. I got out of my Swiss yen short today. So that was an ADR hit as well. So up to ADR 125. That was the reversal alert. Not a very good one, so I just took it off. So Swiss yen, that was a big move up, and obviously took a good hour or so for the reversal to actually happen. So not a very good entry, that one. Euro Swiss. So again, you just had the reversal alert go in there. I've taken that manual. EA's just taken one, and I've taken one. Pound New Zealand's just hit ADR as well. Pound's pushing at the moment. I don't really want both of those on. I'll leave it there. Might as well. I mean, it's basically, if we can get an ADR hit out of this today, I'm out. And I'd love to be out of these Swissies because they are awful at the moment. Just getting squeezed on it. So a little bit of risk on there, but I'll take one off. I've got a drawdown. This is an aggressive drawdown control position, so it's got a stop loss on anyway. So Euro Swiss, 150 ADR. So big extension there, 150. You've just had the reverse alert go in, which the EA's just taken the trade on. That's my manual one there. So we'll see how that holds up. See if we get any push down on that one today. All these pounds have all hit now. Look, pound odd. So that's ADR now. Your reverse alert is there. Pound CAD. We just had the reverse alert on that, pushing a little bit more again. Pound Swiss, obviously, as we know, Pound Swiss been rallying like crazy. There's the aggressive drawdown control position on that one. Again, stop above that high. If we get, basically, I'm not looking to take too much risk on these. You know, if we're at 150 ADR and it's continuing to push, I do not want to be in it. Yeah, there's something wrong with the Swissy if it carries on going much further than that today. Pound yen, ADR hit to the upside. So this one basically hit ADR this morning and has kind of just sat around, not doing an awful lot today, as all these yens have. We'll have a look at those in a sec. Pound New Zealand, ADR to the upside as well. So again, all this pound rallying, it's just hit, literally just hit ADR on this candle. So your 5-minute reversal alert's going to be quite tight on this. Why is my chart not changing? What's going on? There's your reversal alert. So potential if that obviously drops from there. US dollar Swiss, ADR hit to the upside. Got out of all the shorts on this one today. So those were the short exits of that initial ADR hit that we had. Went sideways for a week. Had the news event, second entry, third entry, out in the propulsion gap. So I'm out of that one. And that's a 125 ADR hit. So your reversal alert's already kicked. Oh, no, you haven't had one yet. Okay. So no reversal alert on US dollar Swiss yet. Again, big, strong move. What's that? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. 40 minutes. Straight up. No rest. And US dollar yen. So again, US dollar yen, ADR, we are stalling out here. Lovely wicks to the upside, look. Yeah, all wicks to the upside. So potentially that might be stalling out as well. So these yens, again, we had the move on the yen after this 2-week accumulation. Basically, we just stuck in balance for 2 weeks. The market got scared. So when we get above the 150 level, the market tends to worry about intervention moves coming from the Japanese, which basically we then got some news from the US dollar, which rallied it, and then it went way above that 150 level, and then the Japanese were like, oi, stop it. And since then, we have. And then last Thursday, we had that beautiful move to the downside, which basically hit support. looked like it was bouncing, and we were like, here we go again, and then it slammed through it, and it was finally, this looks like we might actually start the rollover. The whole thing got undone on Friday. So again, we are just stuck, totally stuck. However, we've got 4 days of news on the US dollar. Literally every day from tomorrow until Friday is big news for US dollar. So one or two things is going to happen this week with these yens. First, US dollar is going to get bad news, and we're going to get drops in the US dollar, and everything's going to be fine, and the yen will start to get some power, and off we go. The other thing that's going to happen is the US dollar gets nothing but positive move, which is going to drive it back above this 150 level all the way up to 152, which is the previous intervention level, which I haven't got on this chart. Yeah, so this 151.870 is the previous intervention level. Can't scroll out anymore. Let's go to 4 hour. Yeah. So this is where we started to get the intervention moves coming in from the Bank of Japan. And that is where the market basically turned tail and ran because they were too scared. And that is exactly where we're approaching again. So if we do get any positive news on the US that takes us above the previous 2 weeks highs, we haven't got far to go. It's literally around about an ADR, 1.5 ADR, something like that. 110, 67, pretty much 70. So yeah, somewhere in the region of 1.5 ADR is all we got until we get back up to that 152-ish level. So we'll see. But at the moment, we're just kind of flip-flopping around. I wouldn't expect to move before Wednesday, but we'll see. First main news we've got for the US dollar is going to be that non-farm employment change. We've got the PMIs tomorrow afternoon. They'd have to come out pretty negative to drop that, but that, well, could drop it. We've also then got Powell talking, and we've got the Canadian rate. Now, that's not going to change, so there's not really any reason for bearish Canadian moves, and that would drag the US down as well, but we will see. So there we go. So that's holding at the moment. I did have an aggressive drawdown control position on this from Friday, which stopped out a break even today at ADR basically. So I didn't want to, just in case they ran for it today. But we'll see. But yeah, there we go. So there's your ADRs. There's a few ADRs there today, mainly Swiss franc related, and hopefully those moves will start to play out now. Pushing up again, but that's a beautiful like limit trigger at that high from Friday. So load of sellers just stepped in there, or the buyers prior New York Open have just closed out portions of their moves and they're going to add into it. So, you know, if they add into it, I'm out. If they don't, happy days. But we'll wait and see. So there's your ADRs. I've got 5 minutes to the open. RSIs, there's nothing. Look at US dollar yen. Lovely wicks there for a short on US dollar yen. So we got an inside bar. We got a shooting star followed by basically another shooting star inside bar. So buyers trying to rally, failed. Trying again, failed. Only one way to go, isn't there? So good short opportunity at ADR there. Your actual reversal is not going to be until there. So that's the last batch of sellers before that new high got put in. But if you want to get in early, you could take a break of that low there. That kind of confirms your M pattern is underway. And then that'll be a confirmation. So if you wanted to, you could sort of get in short on a break of that level and then add for a quick scalp. But, so RSIs, there are no RSIs today at the moment. So H1 is flat, H4 is flat. So there's nothing extended at the moment. We've got some bits and pieces which are getting close, like the pound Swiss. So the Swiss pairs are getting close to extensions. So you're not far away on the hourly, but the 4 hourly, you're pretty much there. It's going to signal in a second, actually, when that candle closes. We've got another 3.5 hours. So anything can happen on that candle. But yeah, so there's no RSIs to look at today. So anything, if you want to look through all pairs, I covered every single pair this morning in the live room. but I warn you, it's not pretty. It's very much a case of everything's going sideways. So when you get up to highs, short it. When you get down to lows, buy it. It's not rocket science, is it, at the moment? Things like this paint the picture. Yeah, I mean, it just, if we get high and you get an RSI extension or an ADR extension to the upside, jump the other way. If you get down to this level, buy it. Nothing else you can do with it at the minute. It's all shook. I'm just running a back test. Make sure that's working. 44 out of 48. Good. Ooh, that's promising. Indices. We've got 3 minutes to the open. I'll have a look at the indices. Afternoon, everybody else I haven't said hello to. Forgot to put up the thumbs up today. Hit the thumbs. Oh, that coffee's terrible. Afternoon, Udi, Philip, Virginia, Astro, Mumo, Peggy, Brian. Late messing with a scammer on Telegram. Yeah, haven't had one of those for a while. Afternoon, Kennelly. For this drawing, are you using your mouse or some type of trackpad? It's way too smooth to be a mouse. What, for this drawing? That's a mouse. It's not a trackpad. High quality art, this, you know. It's when I need to do my rockets. Now that should show you that is definitely a mouse and not a. That's a terrible rocket, isn't it? That's a rocket that's eating all the pies. Chubby rocket. Can you please have a look at the DAX? So DAX, I'm in a hedge at the moment from this morning. It's not gone anywhere today. So we are, oh, look at that. Just missed my TP. Literally just missed my TP. One with the idea of getting out of that before the open, just in case it pumps, but I'll leave it. So yeah, DAX, I mean, it's, since we had the open this morning, we've gone nowhere. Look. So there was your open. We've moved down 2R. So really not a lot of movement today at all. Right, NASDAQ pre-market range too tight. Dow in long, S&P pre-market range too tight. Just, it's 45, so it is 10% of ADR, but 10% of ADR is exactly 45, and that is the range, so no trade taken. We'll see where we go. Epic pen. Yes, Epic pen. This is my Epic pen. It allows me to draw things with varying sizes of pen. It's epic. Epic. Love your latest video. For me, February was a bit rocky, plus 3%. Oh, that's a shame. You only made 3%. You're better than 95% of traders, because 95% of traders lost money last month. If you made 3%. It's about making money. How's the manual on the EA coming? It's done. In text form. So, yeah, I finished it this morning. And I'm just running some tests here at the moment. So what I want to do, ideally, is I want to push the EA out with default settings, right? No one take this the wrong way, but I'd like to push the air with default settings that a child could place on a chart, press start, and get a positive result from. Yeah. So I'm just running some system parameter permutation tests, and I have been all weekend. I'll put it open. Just on EU and GU, just to get an idea for what is the best kind of defaults to use for idiot proofing. So the system parameter permutation tests, I've only run a few, but I don't know if you can see, but there's 2,700 positive results out of 2,880. And this is running system parameter permutation on risk, lot multiplication, ADR addition distance, and targets. So should I get out with 0.25%, 0.5%, 0.75%, or 1% profit? If I get multiple trades on, should I get out with 0.5%, 0.25%, 0.75%, or 1% profit? Should I add my positions a quarter of an ADR, half an ADR, 3/4 of an ADR, or 1 ADR apart? Should I use a 1, a 1.3, or a 1.6 lot multiplier? And should I use 0.2, 0.4, 0.6, or 0.8% risk on my first trade? Yeah. So all of those settings have all been tested with every variation, of which there's 2,880 of them. And the result is that 2,700 times out of those 2,880, you would have made profit regardless. Doesn't matter what you use, pick one at random and just go, that one. It makes money. Yeah. So, so the system parameter permutation test is actually, I think that's probably the highest I've had, actually. 2,000. It's pretty much all of it. Doesn't matter. Just pick it at random. Just set the inputs at random. Press the start button. It makes money. It's that good. But that's only testing 1 year on one instrument, but every permutation possible. Yeah, I've done no drawdown control testing. I've done no aggressive drawdown control testing, and that is ADR. I've done RSI testing as well. The RSI testing is almost as good. Not that one, because that was a different test. That was a bug version. So the RSI permutation test that I ran, 1,060 and 1,002 came out positive. It's quite hard. Put it this way: it's quite hard not to make money with it, but not extortionate amounts. Yeah, so we're not talking about making an absolute fortune here. Yeah, and the drawdown's quite high on some of the tests. So what I want to pick is, I'm not going to pick the one that makes the most profit. I'm not going to pick the one that's got the best drawdown. I'm going to pick something in the middle. Yeah, remember I keep talking about these bell curves. Yeah, so you're going to have up here some of them that make $13,000 worth of profit. You're going to have some down here that make $4 worth of profit. Yeah, and everything in between. So I'm going to pick something that falls here. It's not going to make the biggest amount of money. It's not going to have the biggest amount of drawdown. It's not going to be the best, because we don't know what the best is going to be in the future, because we don't know what the future is. But I'm going to pick something that if you use the settings here, you should be able to put it on any instrument and it will just grind away and make money. Yeah. Everyone's going to take it and they're going to run and they're going to test it and they're going to pick the one that makes 13 grand. Yeah. I can't stop them doing that. But I don't want to put out a default with something that is just going to blow accounts left, right, and center. So I want to use small risk, very good drawdown control, not aggressive drawdown control, because I think that should be done manually anyway. But yeah, and just something that works, basically. I've been on this testing that I've been doing, just quickly see what's going on with the indices. No trade on the S&P. The opening range on the S&P was tiny. Look at that. 2.5 point opening range on the S&P. Absolutely no volume. NASDAQ, almost 20% of ADR on the NASDAQ. God, that's a big variance, isn't it? So I'll be getting into the NASDAQ when that breaks. Dow. I'm out. Oh yeah, Dow's hit target. There you go. So immediate 1R target on the Dow and out on the second half as it's pulling back. So the Dow's done for me anyway. I'm doing 1R at the moment because it's just so crap. So yeah, so this, what was I talking about? This testing. Yeah, this testing that I've been doing on ADR. Let me just grab some test results. So this is the 61 tests been done. 56 of them are profitable at the moment. Where are my spreadsheet gone? So if you look at these tests that I'm running, so basically what I'm doing is I'm running tests with 80% of ADR. Yeah. So, you know, we talk about ADR all the time and how when price extends beyond ADR, there's a high probability of it pulling back. That's what the data shows. What I realized, which I've never really looked into in any detail before, is that there's a 42% chance that we exceed ADR on a day-by-day basis, yeah? Which leaves us with a 58% chance that we won't hit that level. So what does that tell us? Almost 60% of the time, the market just does that. We know that because we can see it on a chart. But it means that 60% of the time, we don't get to ADR. Look at the ADR dashboard. Yeah. None of this is at ADR. That's not hit. These haven't hit. These haven't hit. None of that's hit ADR. Yeah. So on the days we don't hit ADR, why don't we short it when we get around about 80% of it? So it goes down 80%. Let's long it. Yeah. So, and I haven't been able to do that test with the market reverse alerts EA because the chances of you getting into a reversal at ADR with the market reverse alerts EA, if it hasn't hit ADR, you're probably going to find that you've moved half an ADR back, i.e. you're back to the median for the day before you even get an entry. With the new EA, because we can use moving averages quite close to price, we can get in quick. So all these tests that I've been doing, using 80% of the, or this one's using 75%, yeah, 75% of ADR, works fantastically well. So basically all we're doing is we're saying that's what it does on average, yeah? So if we get close to that average, we know there's a 60% chance we won't get there. Let's short it up here. And let's just try and grab a quarter to a half an ADR. Not thought of it before. So I think I probably have, but I haven't never looked into it. So I'm running tests on this at the moment to put this out as a potential ADR mean reversion strategy as a default. And it's doing fantastic. This is only a 6-month test, so I'm doing a very fast test at the moment just to churn lots of different scenarios out, but all make money, varying degrees, you know, 5 grand, 5 grand, 10, 11. We sort it by return on drawdown. So returning on drawdown is 2.87%, ranging back down to nothing, basically, which is, it just broke even. And using multiple different lot multipliers as well. So looking at potential martingale, and obviously wouldn't ever say use martingale, but for short term, it's really, really good. But obviously it's short term because when it decides to go 4 ADR against you on a squeeze on the back of news, you're dead. So you don't, I mean, you wouldn't use it. I just wanted to test it and just see what the variances are. But normal lot multipliers, the 1.3s, the ones that I normally use, coming out good, all profitable. So that's what I'm doing with it anyway. That's the current tests that are running. I mean, it's ready to go. I can press the button now and it'll go live. But I'm just conscious, if I do that, everyone's going to immediately go, where's the set files? I haven't got any. Just use defaults. So I need to put it out with defaults that are not going to, first of all, are not going to blow people's accounts. They've got to be small risk. And secondly, they need to work. Yeah. So the normal sizing, spacing, and everything that I use in here on a day-to-day basis is great. But I'm just running some tests to get some kind of better ones that should, you know, that are going to be consistent. The normal half ADR spacing with 1.3 multiplier will work absolutely fine. And that is what the default is at the moment. So that's what's running on here. What's running on here, not there, here, this one here, God, that's done 11% so far this month. In the last 2 days, it's done 11% in 2 days, basically. This is just running half an ADR spacing with RSI 60/40 and 1.3 lot multipliers. So I just want something that's going to be, but it's running fairly high risk. So I want to make sure it doesn't run too high risk. Otherwise, it's just going to continuously blow tests in the back tester, which is pointless because I want people to actually see what it's capable of doing. I'd rather it went through the entire test and made money, even if it's a small amount of money, because it gives people confidence in the strategy then. And that's what I want them to do, is to use the strategy. So, but we'll see. So hopefully this week, I should be able to get it out there. No break on the NASDAQ yet. S&P is breaking long, but it's too tight a range to take. And the DAX has just missed that target again. I'm tempted to get out of my DAX shorts. I'm going to get out my DAX shorts from this morning, I think. Come on, tick. So I'll see if I can get a push up from there. He says immediately as it pushes back down again. Afternoon, Steve. Is the test also testing different ways to getting in? There isn't any different ways to getting in. There is only one. Moving average. That's it. Yeah, no, it's not testing. This is. I've run tests on RSI and I've run tests on ADR. Separate strategies. But I mean, it's, you know, I keep saying it doesn't matter. They're the same thing. If the market's pushed, we're waiting for it to pull. Whether you get in on ADR or RSI, it's pushed. Doesn't matter which you use. You want to get in when there's power coming in your direction. It's literally what it does. This is why it works, people. It's not complicated. It's really simple. RSI has got above that level. ADR has got above that level. When price comes down, sell it. It's literally it. If price goes up after you've sold it, scale in, move your price, and get out when it does come down. If we're right, get out. If we're wrong, wait, get out. That's position trading, isn't it? It doesn't have to be complicated. But what I've built is something that is testable, which is great, which is what I want. Something I can, and something I can use. I need to be able to get into the market when I want to get into the market as well. So it's got to be flexible. But anyway, it's nearly done. So what size is the account for the test? That's a 50K, I think. I can't see because I can't get into these settings, but I'm pretty sure I set it up as 50K. Yeah, so 6% drawdown is $3,000. So yeah, it'd be 50K. So it's a 50K test. So it returns, it returns what I return, somewhere in the region of 10 to 20% a year on each instrument. That's what I do. And that's what this does. So, 28 instruments times 10%, it's 280% return. That is if everything goes well. Obviously, it doesn't go like that, does it? Wouldn't that be nice? MetaQuote's MT4 and MT5 have officially banned all brokers from providing MetaQuote trading platforms to all US citizens. Have they now? What other platform can I recommend as alternatives? Change your broker. Use an overseas broker that's not regulated. Well, that's not regulated. It's not US regulated. I don't know. I don't use any other platforms. I don't know. Brian's up and running. He's in the US and he's with Oanda and IG. I don't know where you've heard that from, Henricus, but are you sure you've used the right word there? Brokers. Do you not mean prop firms or brokers providing prop firms with feed. Yeah. All this stuff, everyone keeps contacting me going, oh, MetaQuotes is going bust. No, it's not. MetaQuotes is doing the right thing. The con men, criminals that are trying to sell you demo accounts and pretend they're real have been licensing brokers' data feeds to manipulate price and steal your money. MetaQuotes have slammed the hammer on them and said, stop it, you criminals. Nothing wrong with MetaQuotes. It's not going bust. MT5 is not replacing MT4. Everything's fine. But prop firms, quite rightly, are getting their crap kicked out of them because they're stealing your money. Stop using them. So yeah, brokers. If you have a look at E8, yeah, go on to E8. Yeah, one of the big prop firms. I used to use them all the time. Yeah, it used to be called E8 Funding. Now it's called E8 Markets. Look at this. Please note that all accounts we provide to our clients are demo accounts with fictitious funds, and any trading is on a simulated environment only. We have been telling you that we've been funding you with real capital for the last 2 years. We've been caught, so we've had to change the way that we work now and be upfront. We know that none of you are going to use us anymore, and we're all going to go bankrupt soon, but thanks for the cash. Bye. What does that smell like? Binary options. What happened to binary options? Exactly the same thing. Con. Crooks. Prove me wrong. No one has. But I don't think you have a problem with brokers. Some brokers, 8cap, and people like that are having their licenses revoked by MetaQuotes. Quite rightly so. They've been giving... Think like... Well, got a big problem in the UK, especially in London at the moment, where I go and rent a flat from someone, and then I sublet that flat to someone else, and basically don't pay the rent. And the poor bloke that I've lent my flat to, or sub my flat to, he basically has the real landlord knocking on his door in about 6 months' time going, oi, where's my money? And you go, well, I've been paying my landlord. I'm your landlord. Oh, but that's not who I rented the flat from. No, that's what brokers are doing. Brokers are going, hi, MetaQuotes, we'd like to provide your services to all of our customers, please. Hello, Mr. Prop Firm. Tell you what, give me $2,000 and I'll let you have my license. Do that. It's not allowed. Also, there are FCA regulations and many regulations in regulatory countries with regulatory bodies that do not allow that, because the prop firm has that data feed coming into its servers, and I can then manipulate those servers in between the broker and you. Yeah, I can change the price. Oh, this is going up at the moment. Everybody's long on it. Tell you what, let's take it down. Oh, sorry, did you blow your account? Give me another $500 and I'll sell you another demo. What a business, eh? Great. If only I'd have gone into it. I'm still up and running. Yeah, that's fine. So it said. Also did an aggressive on pound Swiss. Oh, Euro Swiss, stop it. Yeah, pound Swiss. Yeah, it's running as well. Just putting a new high on the pound Swiss. I got a feeling I'm going to get stopped out on this. This Swiss franc is on its deathbed at the moment. It really is. Can't get a move going at all. I've no idea why this is so weak. It's just the opposite move that you would expect on a positive CPI number. It's, especially at the moment, you know, CPI is king because CPI is controlling interest rates and interest rates are controlling price, which they always do. So when you get a positive CPI, the instinct is to increase the price of the currency by buying it, and they're not doing it. They've sold the crap out of the Swiss today. So all the smart money concept traders will obviously be telling me that this is manipulation, and the price algorithm that controls the market is enticed everybody to go short, come up and taken their stops. If that's the case, why the hell did they not come back down after they took your stops out? It's the banks just buying it. Anyway, smart money. Just to confirm, Brian and Brian aren't the same Brian, right? No, Brian FX and Brian, the other Brian, are different Brians. Well, they've got different icons anyway. Hey, I've only got 2 Brians. I've only got 1 Steve. I think we're all pretty unique with our names. I'm just scanning through now. Everybody's got pretty unique names apart from the Bryans. We've got too many Bryans. ADR, Euro, Yen. This is strength in that Euro. Euro is absolutely flying, which will be helping the Swissy as well, hopefully. But Euro Swiss obviously won't. So strength in the pound as well by the looks of things today. Off a minute. Only 1 homer allowed. Yeah. Steve, I'm Brian. No, I'm Brian. Oh, both are me. One is from his phone. Oh, no. So I have only got 1 Brian. He's just got 2 pseudonyms. Dodgy. He's got a burner phone. You know what people with burner phones are up to, don't you, Brian? He's not the Messiah. He's a very naughty boy. Dow. We are 2R on the Dow. Still no break on the NASDAQ. Not out of the initial opening range yet. Nor movement. Right. That's why I'm divorced. Because he had a burner phone. And he's still got the burner phone as well. Is one of the burner phones for the ex-wife? Is that what it's for? Should have thrown that one away. Right. So I'm not going to run through all the pairs. There's no point. Nothing's hit RSI yet today, as you can see. It's very much a case of today we are undoing the moves that we had from last week in a lot of cases. So obviously only RSI extensions that we got into are obviously unextending themselves. So at the moment we are just putting in V-shaped recoveries all over the place on a lot of stuff at the minute. You know, so as you would expect, when we're up and down, when you've been down, you go back up again. So all we're doing is nothing much. So there's not a lot to look at. I'm not going to go through everything, but I did cover every pair this morning. And the main thing we need to focus on is the US dollar this week. So that Canadian rate and all the US dollar news we've got. The euro, unlikely we're going to have a change. The euro's rallying into the interest rate. So we might get a sustained move on the euro this week until we get that interest rate change. And then potentially, once we get that interest rate change, it will turn tail and run back the other way, because there's absolutely no reason for it to go anyway at the moment. It's just should be sideways, but we will see what happens. The question is, are you liking the stream from both devices? Yes, Brian, should be having 2. So that's weird. So I've got 66 people in here, but I've actually got 65. Brian is gaming the system. You take 1 phone to the loo on your jet. I'm Brian and my SOS, my wife. And so's my wife. No, I'm Brian and so's my wife. Okay, this is getting a bit weird now. Astro's going back to sleep. He's obviously bored. And Brian's got 2 thumbs. I learned a new word last night in sign language. Does anybody know what this means? In sign language. I'll give it a minute. And New Zealand's come off of ADR. Screw you? No. Does it mean I finished off myself? No. Tornado incoming? No, not that either. I don't know, but it looks naughty. Close. I was watching, there's a new film out on Netflix called Code 8 Part 2, and I forgot about Code 8. It was a really good film with the guy from Arrow, Stephen Amell, and his brother. And I was watching it last night, and there's a deaf guy or a mute guy basically on there. He's not deaf, he's mute. And it basically did that. And it came up in subtitles, arsehole. So that means arsehole. So I thought the next time I see somebody using sign language, I'll go, all right, and see what they do. They're either going to turn around and punch me, or they're going to think, why is he doing that? I don't know if it's real or not, but that's what it was in sign language on Code 8 last night. So there you go. Is it the sign that make dogs turn around? No, that's twist. I do that with my dog. I learned that in training with my dog, twist. Anyway, so there you go. You learned something new. So if you know anybody that is hard of hearing and uses sign language, next time you see them, say, all right, how's it going? Just give it maybe just a little, just a couple of times, just see what their face does. Not a lot happening today, is it? We're stuck everywhere at the moment. DAX is stuck. I've got the aggressive exit on the DAX. So see if we can get a push off of that. But other than that, bit of a dead day today. Release the Kraken. Yeah. I will finish it off. Some kid made a glove where you can do the sign, it speaks out the word through a speaker. That's a good idea. Isn't sign language a bit interpretive, though? I suppose with letters and things, it's obviously, there is only one way of doing it, but surely there's multiple ways you can say the same thing with your hands. I guess. I don't know. I don't know sign language, so I just thought that was an amusing one. Because the guy that was being signed to didn't obviously know sign language, so we could see it. He couldn't. He kept saying, what's he saying? And they would tell him something completely different because obviously they didn't want him to know what they was really saying. Anyway, go and watch Code 8 on Netflix. It's a good film. Keeping that straight now, okay? Now you will know what it means. Right, I'll leave it there today. So basically, the H1M5 mean reversion, I've done some drawdown control today. Everything else is sitting where it is at the moment. So I'm waiting for this yen to do something, one or the other. I don't care. That's good. So I've got an aggressive drawdown control position sitting ready to go on the pound yen at the moment. As you can see, the stops up there. I haven't triggered on it yet. But we are at 125 ADR, so we're really extended. So aggressive drawdown control, you should really execute it at support and resistance or when the market has done a big move. So everything else on this account is just sitting there absolutely fine. Nearly 7% of that drawdown is just on yen, pound yen, US yen. So we're going nowhere, as you can see with this. So hopefully we put in a lower high on Thursday. We're going to run for a lower low, in which case I'm out and done, finally. The ADR reversals in huge drawdown on this at the moment. Slightly worrying drawdown, and it's the Swiss franc. The Euro Swiss is kind of at the point now where I'm going to need to cut some. So if this aggressive drawdown control fails today, I think I'm going to have to cut some. It did 13% last month, something like that, 14%. Can't even remember. It's on the video. But actually, it's more than that, wasn't it? I can't remember. I can't even look. But anyway, whatever I did last month. So I'm happy to take a hit of sort of 3 or 4% on it. Just to get this drawdown under control. This has got an aggressive drawdown control position on it. So obviously I will be getting out if it continues to push above the high of the day. It's 150 ADR. This thing's just not stopping. So I need to do some damage control on it, basically. But I'm going to give it the day to play out. If we get a push down, I'll be able to get out of half the position. But at the moment, it's just stuck. We're 150 ADR off the back of positive news, which I just don't get at all, but it is. So I did some drawdown control this morning. This dropped down. I did drawdown control on the pound Swiss this morning. I should have done it on the euro Swiss, but it doesn't matter which one I did it on. They both went the wrong way. So, yeah, a lot of drawdown on this account. But half of that is one instrument, and it's in too much. I've let it get too big. So it might hurt the month, but we'll see. We're early on in the month anyway. So up 6% on hedging. That's all going absolutely fine. Pound yen is the only thing that's in a little bit of DD, and the pound Swiss, again, it's the same old culprits, isn't it? This is the problem with running multiple strategies. You're going to get into drawdown on the same things on all the strategies because everything is squeezing. So, well, everything is squeezing the same. So euro Swiss and pound Swiss making up over 10% of that drawdown, but that's quite normal for the hedging account to be in that because it's obviously banked well over 40%. On the account anyway, so over the last 2 months. So yeah, that's all ticking along basically. There we go. So that's the state of the play at the minute. Everything's a little squeezy on the Swiss, but I will just have to see what happens with this one today. If I have to take a loss on it and take a hit, I will. Nothing I can do with it. It's beyond normal, this euro at the minute. Brian's thumbs from his phone. Good one. I wish I hadn't told you like that now. So I'll be back tomorrow. So live rooms this week, I did cover them this morning, but live rooms this week, 2:45 tomorrow afternoon. We're going to be looking at the PMIs for the US dollar. So we'll watch what happens after the, we'll have a look at the open, obviously, when I come on and see what's happened at the open. If you're using the stock index hedge or the opening range breakout EA, we'll be looking at those, what's happened with them. Wednesday, 8 o'clock and 2:30, CAD interest rates and Aussie GDP. Then we've got Euro interest rates and non-farm payroll on Friday. So that's the schedule for this week. So I'll be back tomorrow afternoon at 2:45. All right. So have a good one. Anything you need, let me know. I'll be in Telegram or Discord. Other than that, I will see you guys next time. Have a good day.